So you missed my singing bowl, whatever the heck those things are called. Remember me using those in all the previous notes? Hopefully you do. But remember, there were some oddities to this. Number one, there was initialization that we never went back to. We did it once, never went back. Number two, we did our conditional statement, but we didn't go straight over to the right. So this wasn't a straight shot. We did our condition. If our condition was true, then we moved on to inside the block. And then when we were done with the inside the block, then we come back out and do our increment. Well, welcome to nested for loops. So I'm blocking one thing out. There you see the I for loop. That's really going to take care of all of the rows. And now there's the J for loop. Notice the structure between the two is no different. But together things get interesting because of how the original or outermost for loop is done. So what you have here is, there's the balls that I'm going back to again. Ball number one, I set up the I. Notice I haven't set up the J yet. Okay, I set to 0. Is 0 less than 10? There's Barney ball bouncing number 2. Yes. So now I go inside of the squealy braces, and guess what? There's another for loop. And that for loop's going to kind of do the exact same thing the outer one did. But this time I am using a variable J. So J, and by the way, you're going to see two Barney balls there, and you're like, what the heck? Bear with me. J is equal to 0. Then we have our condition, and then we do our item inside, and then we increment. And then this loop is going to loop, what, 3 times? 0, 1, and 0, 1, no, just twice. Just 0 and 1, because 2 is not less than 2. So this is going to loop twice before this one even gets to loop again. So notice, by the way, as soon as I am stuck in a loop, I'm stuck in it. Think of this as a black hole. The outer fringes of that black hole are the outermost features of the outer for loop using I. The inner part of the for loop is the black hole itself. You're stuck in here until that condition is done. Now what happens when that condition is done? So we've done only one iteration of this loop. This loop we've done twice. Now our J is equal to 2. J is 2, is J of 2 less than 2? No. So this loop stops and dies. That's really important to understand, and we actually talked about that in our arrays notes, that once this loop dies, that variable of J is gone too. And that's okay. That's all right. Because remember, I've only done one iteration so far of this outer loop. I've still got 9 more to go. Now, with that said, that means that my next item, my increment I to 1, is 1 less than 10? Yeah. Guess what? I do this whole darn thing over again. Now, you're probably looking at me like, okay, so I get that this is going to do this basically 20 times. It's 10 times for each row. How does that work out? We're going to use that I and J pattern in order to display all of our particular index location numbers for a matrix. And that's what the rest of this is going to be. And thankfully, this helps us do all of that.